Hi, I'm Samantha Brown, and 2025 marks my 25th year traveling as a career in front of the camera as your travel host. In that time, I have been at the helm of 14 series, many specials, helping to create over 260 hours of travel television. And I'm still going. Right now, I'm in Rothenburg, Germany, shooting an episode, and this marks my 11th trip to Germany. And I'm not saying that to boast, only to be in awe of a job I never thought I would have, let alone get to keep. Here is a look back at 25 years of travel and having one of the best jobs in the world.
Hi, I'm Samantha Brown, and I have been traveling the globe for 25 years. Here's a great episode of my Emmy Award-winning travel series, Places to Love. Like and subscribe to join me on my adventures. Let's go. The number one question I get is, how did you get that job? And the short answer is, I had to audition.
Holding on Samantha Brown. Samantha Brown.
I'm Samantha Brown. I'm from Newcastle, New Hampshire, which is an island on New Hampshire. People don't even think we have any seacoast. We actually do. And I live on an island off of it.
But before I even got that audition, I had graduated from Syracuse University with a degree in musical theater. I moved to New York City and started auditioning for roles. I pounded the pavement and waited on tables for 8 years until my first big break came, a national commercial for a cable company. I was their fictitious spokesperson, Wendy Wire. And the writer for those commercials happened to be a friend of the producer that was asked to make a new series at the Travel Channel called Great Vacation Homes. The writer recommended me as a potential host. That production company is Pine Ridge Film and Television, owned by Jerry and Cindy Smith. They flew me down to Jacksonville, Florida, and had me host a mock tour of their office.
Now this is a diner. If you don't know, if you weren't, if you're, I don't know, still alive, everyone knows this is a diner.
Listening to my voice, I can hear I'm really nervous.
Okay, now we really need to get down to business. Now this is where it ends. We're not sitting at the table anymore. Nothing's spread out. We're sitting on the big chairs. Get the comfy chair. You know, the great thing about stools is you could be sitting in a diner and, you know, you're having a good time with your soda jerk or the short order cook, but you want to check out who's come in, maybe a cute boy. So you just kind of, you know, kind of look around. Okay, maybe he was cute. Then you start your flirting. And there's a whole flirting. So, I would really like the chance to be able to do it.
I got the job. Great Vacation Homes was greenlit. The very first episode we filmed was in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I was 29 years old and thrilled to be traveling throughout the United States.
This whole home is designed to give you the feeling like you've stepped back into the 11th through the 15th centuries, except, of course, the bathrooms. They're modern. And look, padded walls. This is so accommodating for the times, for those bad hair days where you just want to throw yourself against the wall and collapse into a puddle. But that's just me.
I saw some incredible homes, but I never expected this.
A fantastic vacation home. Wait a minute. Oh, a fantastic vacation home.
This one was in the Florida Keys and had a 25,000-gallon indoor swim tank.
Remember when having a pool with a diving board was enough?
I thought the series would be 6 months of filming and then I'd be back waiting on tables, pounding the pavement. Little did I know that Pine Ridge and Howard Lee, my first executive producer at Travel Channel, would become instrumental to my career, and this would be the start of 15 amazing years there. This is the Aspen Vista Trail, and it's actually really important in my career because I came here on that very first episode I was shooting to clear my head because I was completely overwhelmed, right? I had been a waitress, and now all of a sudden I was in a TV show where I had to talk to people and hold a conversation and be funny and be entertaining, and then I had to talk to a camera. Like, how do I talk to a camera? Do I talk to the lens? Do I talk to the cameraman? Like, where do I put my hands? And like,
I just didn't know what to do. And so I came to this trail. I was actually driving and I thought, well, that's a beautiful place to stop. And I just went for a long walk and I began to talk about what was going on to the trees. And I just started saying, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. And they listened. And everything worked out. And every time I come to Santa Fe, I come to the trail, the Aspen Vista Trail, and I talk to the trees. So where you see a forest, a beautiful forest, I see thousands and thousands of life coaches. Hello. How's it going? I know, it's been a while. Hey, everyone.
Great Vacation Homes aired in 2000 and did well, but the critique was, well, no one could stay in any of these homes. They were all privately owned. So let's take the formula of Great Vacation Homes and apply it to accommodations you can stay in. And my next series, Great Hotels, was born. We made 3 seasons and a total of 90 episodes of Great Hotels here in the United States. People started recognizing me on the street. They would say, hey, you're that hotel girl, right? And that they loved it when I jumped on the fancy hotel beds. Oh! Now, these were predominantly 5-star resorts and boutique hotels, which I had never stayed in before. And I thought, well, this is pretty awesome. But the challenge became, well, how do I show each hotel lobby, room, or bathroom differently? How do I make this less lifestyles of the rich and more fun for everyone? And so I used humor.
Oh, that's nice. This lobby is so incredible. You should have seen my face when I first saw it. Actually, I think we have a clip. So when's the earliest I can get a cup of coffee?
24 hours a day from room service.
When's the latest I can have a cocktail?
2 a.m.
I called the guy a week ago and he hasn't returned my call. Should I call him again?
No, he's had his chance. It's time to move on.
He's good. I'm on the balcony of one of the 3 duplex suites here at the hotel. This is 44th Street. We're in between 5th and 6th Avenues. Really, it's quite incredible. Knock it off! I'm talking here! So rude. Okay, that's it. Let's go inside. I'll show you the suite. I've had enough!
People always ask me, what is your favorite destination? And listen, I've got a few around the world, but when it comes to the United States, it's Santa Fe, New Mexico. I loved the history, the culture, the energy. Every magical thing ever said about Santa Fe is true. And so, of course, I wanted to come back here to celebrate my 25th, have one rockin' margarita or 2, as well as stay at what still remains one of my favorite hotels in the world. The Inn of the Five Graces, where I came for great hotels. It was a hotel unlike any I had ever been to. It was first meant to be a showplace of room settings for Sylvia and Ira Surrett's antique store here in the city. But so many people actually wanted to stay in the showroom that the couple thought, why not turn it into a small inn?
This hotel really embodies that creative, artistic spirit of Santa Fe. And it's an aesthetic that Ira has developed over 50 years.
This hotel is probably the only hotel in America that's handmade. The whole hotel is handmade, which is really remarkable in this day and age.
Whether it's in wood and carved wood or carpets and textiles, and just combining all these elements of handmade art that really come together beautifully. And it's been a family affair as well. And, you know, Sharif has a great sense of art and design, and he combines that with a great business sense.
100%.
Really.
The Five Graces, they're rooted in Eastern tradition. You have the ability to enjoy through every sense. And we feel with all the textures and layers, you really get to enjoy that here at the hotel.
The series that put me on the map was Passport to Europe.
We are about to experience one of the greatest controversies in Paris. In fact, 300 of its writers, artists, and intelligentsia drew up a petition with this to say, "We, the lovers of the beauty of Paris, do protest in the name of French taste and endangered French art and history against the useless and the monstrous Eiffel Tower." What do they know?
I'm in Rome, Italy, at the ever-popular Spanish Steps. These were built in a Roman Baroque style in the 1720s and are so named for the nearby Spanish embassy to the Vatican. But believe me, nobody here cares about that. For tourists around the world, this is the place to sit down. We've been running all over Rome. We need a breather. Are you guys, brothers? Fratelli, see? Oh. They all look... Who needs a sister? I think I found where the locals go.
I spent 2 years here, 52 episodes, 21 countries, and this time really represented a big sea change in my career because people began to follow what I did. They would come to these places and do what I did, and that was totally unexpected. I just thought I was entertainment. Heck, I didn't even have the Travel Channel for the first 5 years I was on it. So I didn't even think I was on television, right? Let alone people were following my own itinerary. I can even pinpoint the exact episode, the exact scene where it changed for me. It was the Prague episode, and my director found a man who made strudel and sold it out of the window of his home.
I have a little cheat card. I'm learning to speak Czech just to order strudel. Dobrý den.
Musím pracovat, jinak se mám dobře, moc dobře.
Jeden prosím.
Jeden apple.
Apple?
Apple.
Apple, yes, yes. Oh my gosh. That's one piece? And it says it is 33 crowns, which right now is $1 for that. Isn't that incredible? Oh my gosh. That is amazing. I wonder if there's an ice cream truck around here.
When that show aired, the message boards, this is before social media now, just lit up. Everyone wanted to know, where is that place? And this really stood out because we had done plenty of great food scenes before, but Vista strudel resonated. And I realized it was because it was not in a touristy area, a bit of a challenge to get there. The payoff was excellent, but most importantly, it was a part of the everyday lives of the people living there now. It was normal to them, but felt extra special to us. And ever since then, as we start planning out an episode for Places to Love, we ask ourselves, where is that scene here that is going to have a strong emotional impact with the viewer? And our code for that is, what's the strudel? And I'm happy to say Vista strudel is still there, and 20 years later, I am still working with the same director and editor. After Passport to Europe, we changed our focus to Latin America. I am now back in Costa Rica for the first time in 18 years. I first came to this beautiful country to shoot a series called Passport to Latin America. I got to spend an entire year traveling all throughout Central and South America, and it was while I was in this part of the world that I learned the most valuable lesson, and it changed my perspective of travel. You see, when I was in Europe, I thought that travel was about seeing things, checking things off the list, spending all your time in castles and cathedrals and museums and monuments, and that's all wonderful, but those things just always keep you in the past. But when I came here, I was like, wow, there's not this like intense itinerary of must-sees, and because of that, I just naturally relaxed and I spent more time with the culture as it was today. I was no longer in the past. And that simple act of being in the moment just gave me a much more personal, more intimate experience with travel itself. And I have never been the same traveler since.
Lo traemos para el comal
In Honduras, for example, I was shown by Garifuna women how to make cassava bread.
Está viendo qué buen trabajo hizo la muchacha. Buen hombre. Dale, siempre feliz, sí, siempre feliz. Chica, qué rápido aprendió ella a hacer casabe, hombre.
We're gonna wait till the browns, but while we wait, we dance.
While I was in Latin America, I really embraced the idea of letting things happen instead of making them happen.
Well, now what are we gonna do? My first glimpse of Machu Picchu, and it's completely socked in by fog. And it's okay because I got all day today and we got most of tomorrow, so we're just gonna wait. Who brought lunch? Look at that. Oh, wow. It's just beautiful.
When I'm on camera, there's so much that you see, right? You see where I am, what I'm doing, but what you don't see is the camaraderie of my crew. We are a team who works together. I went to school for theater, so my attitude has never been, I am the star, right? We are this amazing ensemble. This coffee's cold.
Sorry, Miss Brown.
And it goes beyond being an ensemble. We are a family, and we look out for one another.
Continuity. Thomas, please, hurry. We're behind.
Is the continuity, Sylvia?
Yes,
You needed the coffee cup? Okay, it's hot?
Yes.
The cold coffee again.
So my attitude has never been, I am the star, right? We are this amazing ensemble. And it goes beyond being an ensemble. We are a family, and we look out for each other. Oh boy, do we look out for each other. My crew has always had my back and I theirs. In my Travel Channel shows, we would be away for 22 days at a time, 14-hour workdays, rain or shine, in the hot sun to 10 degrees below zero. My cameraman, Stan Murphy, would say, "This is a marathon, Samantha, not a race." And it's hard physical work too. A lot of heavy gear that needs to be moved internationally. But with my crew, they've always had a strong sense of artistry and a belief that what we get to do matters. After Latin America, we kept going. I did many other series that covered parts of China, the rest of Asia, a show called Great Weekends, and many other specials along the way. When my time with the Travel Channel came to an end, I was sad. I had started my career there. I spent 15 years of my life hosting shows for them. But I also understood I now had a great opportunity to forge my own path, to no longer be hired talent of a network, but to own my work. I knew I still wanted to travel and to host a travel series, but I honestly didn't know what that would look like or where's it gonna air? And then in 2016, while I was a keynote speaker at an Oregon tourism event, I met Kara Wilson. Kara is this force of grit and goodness, and when my family and I arrived, Kara, who was in her wheelchair, picked up Ellis and Elizabeth and took them each on a joyride. We hit it off immediately, and I learned that she's 7th generation Oregon Trail family. Her family owns a cattle ranch, and the home she grew up in was ordered from a Sears Roebuck catalog and was delivered on a Wells Fargo wagon in 1910. And I asked, so what brings you to a tourism event? And she said, well, you can stay in what used to be my family home. It's now a bed and breakfast where guests can help me and my family on cattle drives. And that was my aha moment. I want to do a travel show where people like me know people like her exist. That's it. That's the new show. Connecting travelers not only to destinations, but to people. So my husband and I, we started our own production company to make a new series on public television.
Yeah, we knew public television was where we wanted to be because its audience is endlessly curious about the world. They travel extensively and they value excellent storytelling.
Yeah, and that's what makes Places to Love different from any other travel series I've hosted. It's not this fast-paced itinerary show where we're just like plowing through attractions. We spend time talking to the locals and letting them tell me and you their stories.
And we all learn about that place through the local perspective.
The mission of Places to Love is to keep being curious about our world through each other, curious about each other's culture and history. But we also focus on who gets to tell that history and what perspective hasn't been listened to. There's food, of course, but also how does this place create community? And who are the people who are actively strengthening it in small but powerful ways?
I'm Father Isaac Slater. I'm a Trappist monk at the Abbey of the Genesee near Geneseo, New York.
I'm Hanan Amesh. I'm an architect and urban planner here in East Jerusalem.
Kia ora, my name is Arekatira Maihi, but to my friends I'm known as Cuts.
I'm George J. Scott, a visual and performing artist.
When we travel, we are looking to have deeper, more meaningful experiences. And we like to show those meaningful experiences through destinations that range from bucket list places that you need to plan and save years for to easier to reach destinations that you could travel there next weekend if you had the time.
Here is the Neptune fountain. See, there's Neptune right in the middle. He's surrounded by 4 female figures, and they represent Germany's 4 most important rivers. You know, to be honest, I wasn't overly excited about coming to Berlin. Interested, absolutely. But I couldn't get my handle on this city. I couldn't place an idea of Berlin in a nice little box, wrap it up with a bow for my complete understanding. And in the end,
it's the not knowing that really appeals to me. And that's even more true today. I love not knowing. I love to show up in a city or a country and just say, show me what you got, right? This isn't a studio. We are really in the place. And of course, we can control a little bit of it, right? I've got cameras and I've got sound, hair, makeup. I've got a director. We have permits to be here. We don't have a permit to be here. Okay, wrap it up, okay? But what I'm just trying to say is we do all of that so we can just be free, right? We're not in a studio. We're really in a big city. Having the time of our lives. This is my 3rd time to Berlin, and this city just keeps getting better. It's just magic, and that's what travel is about. Okay, let's pack up the cameras and go.
I swear 99% of the time we do have permits. We always have to have permits. So when my career began, the #1 question I got was, of course, how did you get that job? Now, 25 years later, the question is, how has your job changed? And for me, the biggest change I've seen in myself was that I really thought travel was about seeing things, you know, the greatest hits, the exclamation points. And now, 25 years later, I really appreciate the commas. Yeah, the commas of travel allow you to slow down and experience not only the seeing and the doing, but the feeling as well. And it's what I recommend to you, that the next time you travel, don't just put all of your focus on this long list of must-dos, but instead focus on how do you want to feel? And always ask yourself, what's the strudel? Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Places to Love. What was your favorite scene? Be sure to leave a comment. Now, for a full itinerary of this episode, click here. It is a great travel planning tool. And here, if you want to watch more full episodes. And of course, subscribe to my channel to see new episodes as they are released. Hope to see you out there.